don't know if you can tell, I'm a little soggy and I'm getting a cold. If you look behind me, it's rainy and cold here in the south. So nothing better than to spin a good yarn while we're waiting for the rain to pass by. You can maybe see the leaves changing back there. I don't know what the camera sees.
Yes, get over there!
Greetings, YouTube. ReverendAtomSmasher with you here. I have a great story for you guys today and I have a few good guests to join me. Today I have...
Hey there.
And also with me is...
This is Variablast.
And today we're talking about...
Firsts.
First time I was in Hungary, 1968, I was 9 years old. I grew up until then in a normal suburb in Denmark, in Copenhagen. Here we had everything: electricity, running water, toilet, bath, all the modern conveniences. Electricity and everything just made life as easy.
The first time I ever got caught making a bomb. Don't worry, ATF, don't worry, no big deal.
So currently I paint on my apartment, and it's a style of life that I particularly enjoy, and so I thought I would tell you about the first time that I ever completely filled a rental unit.
I went to Hungary with my parents. We drove all the way down there, around 1,600 kilometers, 1,000 miles, and it took us 2 days to get there.
I was working minimum wage part-time in Santa Barbara, California at the time, but I had found a trailer for less than $300 a month, which had a couple of advantages to it.
When I arrived at my grandfather, my father's father's house, he lived like very far in the country, so far out that the last 22 kilometers we drove on a dirt road, where that was really not made for cars but for horse carriages, because the holes that were dug in by the wheels were so deep that our car's bottom actually bumped quite a lot on the grass that was growing in the middle of that road.
There's 3 years between my brother and I. When we were kids, I was 13, he was obviously around 10, and there's a considerable difference between, 10 and 13. One day I was laying on the couch, one summer day, scratching my butt, and one of my brother's friends come over, who was maybe 9 or 10 himself, and he knocks on the door looking for my brother. I tell him that he's not around, but hey, as this guy's name is Rick, and as long as you're around, I have this cool thing that I learned. Do you want to make a bomb?
One advantage was that it was a little secluded. It was in the backyard of a complex, and it was underneath a fantastic avocado tree. So with all my time, I could eat an avocado in the morning and just get to painting right away, mess around with electronics a little bit if I got bored, or pursue any other interest.
When I saw my grandparents the first time in their own surroundings, I had seen them in '64 here in Denmark. But when I saw that, my jaw just dropped. I mean, there was no electricity, no running water, no hot water, of course not, no TV, no nothing. I mean, it was so fucking far out in the country, they had nothing back then in '68, out there in the countryside in Hungary.
So the kid kind of casts a weary eye on me, and he goes, I guess. So I had learned how to make these bombs. You take... I don't even know if I should give this out on YouTube, so I hope some kid doesn't blow himself up. Don't try this at home. Disclaimer. You take a mayonnaise jar, some sort of glass jar, you ball up aluminum foil balls, you drop them in the jar, you pour crystal Drano on top of them, you pour water on top of that. When you want to activate the bomb, it activates the Drano, it eats away the aluminum, boom, blows up the thing, right? Blows up the bomb.
As a result, the painting got done really quickly, and over just the course of a summer, I filled the entire inside with acrylic, with ink, and with a little bit of oil.
The house was built of mud and dirt and clay, built by my grandfather himself. It had a porch. The house was in two parts. In one half of the house, divided by a wall, of course, lived a horse. A fucking horse. And the other half of the house lived my grandparents.
After a bit of time, the landlord did pay a visit and discovered all the paintings and was shocked. I told him initially, jokingly, hoping that I could get away with it, that I would allow him to pay me for all the paintings at a later date. And though he did laugh at that, I was ultimately evicted.
So that we do exactly that. I find a mayonnaise jar that still has mayonnaise in it. I dump it out. I wash it out. I put the aluminum foil balls in there, the crystal Drano, and I take my water off to the side because we don't want to activate the bomb yet, right?
And as I understand it, they donated the trailer to the Boy Scouts, I think the Ventura Boy Scouts of California. I could not trace the trailer down later, and I really wanted to, because there were some of the paintings there that I thought were kind of fantastic, and I had grown attached to, at the very least. One, for instance, right above the bed, was of a very large cartoon-like figure with wings that were made of chains. And I like the idea of chains that hold people down, all the limitations of life, being turned around into a huge boon and advantage that could lift somebody off the ground and let them soar.
So we're walking out in the field to blow over some unsuspecting sapling or something like that, blow up an ant bed, whatever. I'm telling him, man, it's going to be awesome. It's going to fill up with smoke and it's going to blow a crater in the ground and all this stuff. And he goes, you mean like that?
And the floors inside the house were dirt. Dirt floors. I mean, what the fuck? I was just flabbergasted. And the kitchen was a separate house outside in the yard, and you had to get the water out there too in a well. And I was just like, what? You can't live like this!
Since that time, I took to apartment hopping from place to place, adding artwork here and there where I could get away with it, sometimes filling up entire places, but for the most part, even in hotel rooms, finding little nooks and crannies inside the closet or the medicine cabinet or up on a rafter where I could put a drawing or two in there and feel satisfied.
And I look down and the mayonnaise jar is full of smoke. I didn't get all the water out of it when I washed it and it has activated, so I throw it Matrix style.
But of course you could, and I had one of the best vacations of my life for that month when I was at my grandparents' in Hungary in 1968. Since then, that place has simply vanished from the maps.
It gets about 10 feet away, it doesn't even hit the ground, and it explodes. Boom! It blows glass. This violent explosion, it blows glass all over me. And unfortunately, it's closer to Rick. It's raining this violent glass and scalding hot chemicals.
Ultimately, though, I feel it's more rewarding if you get to own it at the end of the day, and that's one of the reasons that I had brought my graffiti home to be with me, so that I could experience it and be around it.
He freaks out and runs home. He tells his parents, who in turn tell my parents, that I'm making bombs and blowing up children.
So as a result, now I purchase all of the things that I end up painting on, including this carpet.
So, meanwhile, their kid is in the hospital getting stitches and being treated for chemical burns. This is the ReverendAtomSmasher bringing you firsts. My first bomb. First of many? Who knows? Have a good day, YouTube.
This has been a fun first. Thanks, ReverendAtomSmasher. Keep smashing them. Later.
That was one hell of a ride that first time in Hungary. Holy crap.